John Deere M. There are tractors that light up the fields, not just by their paint, but by their presence. The John Deere M, introduced in 1947, is one such machine, with its unmistakable green color, which has entered the hearts of generations of farmers. I remember that afternoon. The rain had just stopped. The ground was still wet, but the M was still running smoothly, leaving deep tire tracks on the dark ground. My grandfather stood by the gate, nodding slightly. That's a real John Deere. The John Deere M was manufactured in Dubuque, Iowa, marking the company's transition from pre-war to more modern technology. From 1947 to 1952, about 88,000 M's were sold, at a price of about $1,100 at the time, about a third of the average American farm household's income. Today, original, well-maintained M's range in price from $2,000 to $4,000, depending on their rarity and level of restoration. The John Deere M is popular in the Midwest and Northeast, where there are many small farms with not too steep terrain, where compactness and reliability are always a priority. The most special feature is the low-slung frame system, suitable for both vegetable planting, furrow plowing, and light seasonal work. Small, but not weak, the M always plays its role. I once met an 86-year-old woman in Ohio, Lillian, who told me that she learned to drive an M when she was young. That was the first time I drove anything with an engine, and it was smooth, easy like riding a tricycle. She laughed, her eyes still sparkling. John Deere M uses a two-cylinder, 100.5 cu in gasoline engine, producing about 18 horsepower at the PTO, suitable for light plowing, pulling irrigation tanks, or mowing grass. 4 forward, 1 reverse transmission, easy to operate, does not require much force, suitable for the elderly or beginners. The rear PTO works well with small equipment, pumps, harrows, furrow cutters. The hydraulic system is simple but reliable, easy to maintain. Weighing about 2,600 pounds, large rear wheels help move stably on both soft soil and wet grass. Spare parts are still easy to find at many rural machine shops. For farms of 5 acres or less, the John Deere M has enough power, but does not cause fatigue when used for a long time. It is light, fuel efficient, and easy to operate. Some frequently asked questions. Is it difficult to start the engine? Equals if the ignition is good. It will start after a few revolutions. Do you need genuine spare parts? Equals not required. External spare parts are still good. When buying back, you should check if the PTO shaft rotates smoothly, if the gearbox engages smoothly. Listen to the sound of the engine. It will speak for itself. The John Deere M is an indispensable part of the memories of those who grew up with the fields. Every time I hear the sound of the engine, I feel like I am reminded of the autumn mornings when my grandfather lit the fire, then sat on the iron chair with the hopeful look in his eyes. It is not just a machine. It is a witness to a time when farming was truly done with heart and hands. Have you ever driven, repaired, or simply sat on the back of a John Deere M? Tell me. Your story is part of American agricultural history and deserves to be told, with the slow engine sounds in the countryside. Ford 8N. There are machines that need no introduction. Just hearing the sound of the engine is enough to know the name. The Ford 8N, born in 1947, is such an icon. A machine that not only plows, but also pulls the entire post-war America up from the land. I remember the first time I saw it. Early spring morning. The dew was still thin on the field. Its silver-gray color stood out against the green grass. The engine's sound was steady like the heartbeat of the land. The Ford 8N was manufactured at the Rouge factory, Dearborn, Michigan, the cradle of American engineering. From 1947 to 1952, more than 524,000 units were sold, becoming the best-selling tractor in history at that time. The initial price was about $1,400, at a time when the average farmer's income was only about $3,000 per year. Today, depending on its originality and condition, A Ford 8N can fetch anywhere from $2,000 to $4,500 on the collector's market. The Ford 8N was popular across the United States, from the Midwest to the South, because it was powerful yet accessible, like many people's first pickup truck. Its biggest selling point: the live PTO hydraulic system and simple, safe operation, a huge step forward for its time. I remember my grandfather saying, "That 8N helped me plow my garden after the war." And every spring, he would start it up to plant some beans and corn, even though he didn't have much left. The Ford 8N had a four-cylinder engine, about 27 horsepower at the PTO shaft, powerful enough to pull a large harrow, a tandem plow, or even a small log-hauling tractor. For forward one reverse gearbox, smooth shifting, feels real, even after several decades. PTO runs directly with a hydraulic system, easy to attach equipment such as tillers, mowers, or small tractors. With a weight of about 2,800 pounds and large rear wheels, sturdy chassis, Ford 8N runs firmly even on slightly sloping land. Spare parts? Still produced by many agricultural machinery shops. It is not difficult to keep it alive for another 50 years. Ford 8N is not only powerful, but also smart enough for today's farmers. For farms under 5 acres, it is not too much, not too little, enough to clear grass, plow, haul wood, water. A few notes when buying back: check the hydraulic system carefully, especially when attaching the PTO. If the machine slips in level 3, it is a sign of worn gearbox, but can be fixed. I met Uncle Joe, 68, in Arkansas, who still uses the 8N his father left him. Every morning, he still starts the engine and pulls the watering can around the peach orchard, although his hands are slower than before. The Ford 8N is not a tractor. It is a part of the childhood of millions of Americans. It is the first seed a child climbs into to drive with his father into the fields. It is the sound that signals the start of the harvest season. Now, every time I hear the 8N engine start, I see my father, his back bent over the steering wheel, in the deep red sunset of a harvest day. If you have ever sat behind the wheel of a Ford 8N, or watched your father and grandfather drive it through the countryside, tell me about it. Please leave your story in the comments section. Each 8N is a part of American memory. Massey Ferguson, 35. There are tractors that don't need fancy makeup. Just standing there, people trust them. The Massey Ferguson 35, born in 1956, is a symbol of durability, honesty, and reliability like the ground underfoot. I remember one autumn afternoon that year. The sky was just falling over the western woods. The first MF-35 I saw was pulling a bucket of manure through the red dirt path, the engine running smoothly like a silent song of the countryside. The Massey Ferguson 35 was manufactured by Massey Ferguson, later Massey Ferguson, at the Detroit, Michigan plant. From 1956 to the early 1960s, nearly 200,000 were sold in the U.S. The starting price was about $1,850, equivalent to more than half of the average farm family income at that time. Today, you can find a good MF-35 for $2,500 to $5,000, especially if it still has its original red-gray paint. The Massey Ferguson 35 is popular in the American South, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, where the red soil and hot sun demand a durable machine. What makes it so beloved is its no frills. Easy to ride, easy to repair, easy to love. Not too big, not too small. It fits like a pair of shoes your father left behind. I once met an elderly couple in Arkansas. They still use their MF-35 every week to pull hay for their goats. "We got married in 1959, she said. And to this day, all three of us, me, him, and this machine, have never taken a day off." MF-35 has two engine options, gasoline or Perkins 3-cylinder diesel, about 37 horsepower at PTO. Powerful for a small body. 6-speed forward, 2-speed reverse transmission, flexible, smooth, not tiring for the elderly. With the side gear, no need to bend too far to change gears. Strong rear PTO, good coordination with equipment, tillers, harrows, corn cutters, even small grass grinders. Low chassis, large wheels, weighs nearly 2,900 pounds, so it runs firmly with little vibration. Spare parts, easy to find, easy to repair. Many small garages in the countryside still specialize in restoring this model. For farms under 5 acres, MF35 is a no-complaining hired hand. Cleaning barns, tilling, carrying hay, pulling buckets, it can handle anything. Some notes when buying back. Check the hydraulic pump and oil seals. If there is a leak, you will see oil on the engine mount. If there is a knocking sound from the combustion chamber, the spark plug may be worn. Replace it and it will run smoothly. Meet Uncle Ben, 72 years old, who still uses the MF35 to water the orange garden. I bought it in 1963. It has never left me in the middle of the road, he said, his hand still on the steering wheel like an old friend. The MF35 is not flashy, but it is that simplicity that makes it the flesh and blood of many honest growers. I remember one afternoon, standing next to the MF that had stopped running, but the smell of oil, light smoke, and mud stains on the wheels still told me, I have lived. I have fulfilled my duty. Have you ever owned, repaired, driven, or just heard the sound of a Massey Ferguson 35 engine in the middle of a peaceful morning? Tell that story in the comments, so we can all remember, America was once built on simple machines like that. Farmal Cub. There are small machines that have changed a generation of farmers, as silent as a shadow, as durable as the harvest after the rain. The Farmal Cub, born in 1947, was such a companion for farmers who owned less than 5 acres of land. I still remember the day it arrived in my village, bright red in the afternoon sun, slowly running down the dusty dirt road, children running behind, adults nodding. Everyone knew that machine will help change lives. Manufactured by International Harvester in Louisville, Kentucky, the Farmal Cub was the smallest tractor ever produced by this company. From 1947 to 1979, more than 245,000 were released to the market. The price at that time was about $545 US, about 1/4 of the average annual income of a farming family. Today, if you're lucky, you can find an original Farmal Cub for $1,800 to $4,000, depending on the condition and authenticity of the machine. The Farmal Cub is especially popular in the Northeast, where small farms are scattered across steep hills and pastures. The reason is simple: it's compact, easy to handle, fuel efficient, and runs like clockwork. I once stopped by an old gas station in Vermont where 92-year-old Henry still cranks up his Cub every week to mow the grass along the roadside. I bought it in 1953. When I first got married to my wife, he said, she takes care of the land, I take care of her. We're both still here. The Farmal Cub is powered by a 60 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine that puts out about 10 horsepower at the PTO shaft. Not a lot, but enough for light work like plowing, pulling a trailer, or mowing a lawn. 3-speed forward, 1-speed reverse, smooth and easy to feel. Very suitable for older people who are not as quick as when they were young. Cub has a horizontal PTO, simple design, used for mowers, water pumps, or pulling trash cans. More than enough for a small farm. With a low chassis, weight of only about 1,500 pounds, large rear wheels, Cub is easy to maneuver even in a small yard. Spare parts are still produced by third-party manufacturers. Repairs are also easier than you think. For those who own from 1 to 5 acres, Cub is a perfect fit choice. No more, no less. Fuel efficient, simple maintenance. No need for a modern repair shop. Some common questions. Should Cub be used to pull a small truck? Equals yes, if the load is light under 1,000 pounds. What is easy to break? Equals ignition and spark plugs, but easy to replace, low cost. When buying it back, try starting the engine in place. backing up and forward a few times. Pay attention to any strange noises from the gearbox. The Cub is very real. Listen carefully. It will tell its own story. Farmal Cub, not flashy, not ostentatious, but the silent heart of many American countrysides. It not only plows the land, but also reminds us of the time when our fathers worked hard in the sun, on the land, and with the hope of a better life. If you or a loved one has ever owned a Farmal Cub, or simply run your hands over that cold iron steering wheel, please share your story in the comment section. Here, every memory is precious. Like every scratch on a tractor, there's a story to tell. Allis-Chalmers B. There are tractors that not only pull the soil, but also bring back memories to the afternoon fields and the sound of the engine echoing in the peacefulness. The Allis-Chalmers B, born in 1937, is such an icon. I still remember the first afternoon I saw it in the Kansas fields, when my father stopped to admire the bright orange iron frame, small but strong. The sky that day was golden, like the color of hope. Allis-Chalmers, a name associated with Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is where machines were born from the hands of old American craftsmen. From 1937 to 1957, more than 125,000 BS were sold, at a price of about $1,500 at that time, nearly half the average income of a farming household. Today, depending on condition, AB can be found for anywhere from $1,200 to $3,500, but the sentimental value is priceless. The B was once popular in the Midwest, especially in Iowa and Missouri, where small farms required compact machines. It was small but powerful, easy to operate, easy to maintain, and extremely economical. Many say it was the first tractor my grandfather bought after the war. I once met Bill, 84, who told me that in 1952, he plowed his wedding land with the B. It's still in storage, occasionally running on holidays. The B had a 4-cylinder engine, making about 17 horsepower on the PTO, enough to run a small harrow, a lawn mower, or a water pump. The engine started easily, even on a cold fall morning. 3 forward, 1 reverse gearbox, easy shifting, suitable for the elderly. Side drive PTO, quite simple, works for most basic equipment on a small farm. Weighing in at around 2,200 pounds, the low frame and large rear wheels give it good traction and keep it from slipping on wet ground. Parts are still readily available at many farm antique shops. For those with less than 5 acres, the B is just right, not too much or too little. It doesn't use much gas, doesn't require much skill. Anyone can learn to drive it in a few sessions. Some common questions. Is it easy to start? Equals very easy, if maintained regularly. What breaks down most easily? Equals wiring and carburetor, but both are easy to fix. When buying used, check for cracks in the frame and excessive wear on the rear wheels. Look for a machine that has been test-fired within the last 6 months. So, after nearly 90 years, the Allis-Chalmers B is still running, still serving. It's not just a machine, it's a part of American memory. Do you remember your first tractor? I remember, and will always remember, the sound of the B starting every morning when my grandfather was getting ready to go to work in the fields. If you've ever owned, or even just sat in, an Allis-Chalmers B, share your story with me in the comments. Who knows? Your memories may come alive like the sound of the engine after a long silence.